What's going on, everybody? Today on the show, of course, another awesome episode. We do nothing but bring awesome guests onto the platform. Today's guests have a very interesting backstory, and considering the fact that most of the people that are listening to this particular podcast, they're on their commute. Currently, they're working. They may be, self-employed and finding other options, finding different ways to invest, finding different strategies, things like that. These two individuals lost their jobs. All right, like one lost their job first, and obviously, as they had to make that adjustment, rightfully so. Then at that point, the other individual loses their job. So now they got a real dilemma on their particular hands. So what do? They're backed into a corner. They actually decide to take the even more riskier adventure, and instead of going back to the salary position, they become full-time entrepreneurs, right? And to throw the cherry on the top of the risk cake that we're dealing with at this point, they basically their capital is a high interest loan, which I believe was 25% or something like that. And I'm just trying to get y'all to go after 0% credit cards. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to break it down. They're going to talk to us about mobile home investing. Ladies and gentlemen, I love to introduce you to Byron Sellers and Sharnice Williams. Thank you two specifically for taking the time to come on the show today.
Thank you for
having us. Yes. Yeah, that was a great introduction. I love it.
That's love. That's love. Everybody says that, and it's only right for me to say that it's you two that make that story. I don't pull that out of my hat. I didn't. That's it. That's fact. So all I'm spitting are just straight facts, and it just so happens that when you bounce back like that, it might look like you're bragging. But here we go. We're gonna jump right into this. So here we go. So talk about getting started, considering the fact that we're in a situation financially, stability-wise. What made you want to go into one, real estate investing, which is great, but mobile home investing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, man, honestly, when you're back against the wall, it doesn't matter what's in front of you, right? You have nothing else to lose. At that time, right before that, I literally had got my car repo, dead broke. At the time, on rent from my roommate, and my options was just really low. And I was driving Lyft, and the podcast came on about mobile home investing. The people were like, "Yo, turn that off." I sent that to the and when I came home and to see her excitement, it made me question like mobile homes, but she's like, "No, baby, we doing this." And that right there was like, for me, it was like, I got nothing else to lose, right? I'm already, almost at rock bottom. So let's get it.
Sharnice, what was it about like mobile home investing that was attractive? Because, especially for our demographic, let's be real, especially for our demographic, it's either, in Kansas or somewhere down by the, so what did stood out about mobile home investing that you were like, we got to do this?
Yeah, so it's like initially when Byron first sent me that podcast, I heard a few things that really stuck out to me, very low capital to start, very low credit. And that was our exact situation because like you said in the introduction, like he had just lost his job. I had lost my job. Now Byron, he's the more like, he's fearless. He's like, look, we gonna do this, we good. I was the one panicking at first, like, oh, I gotta get a job, I gotta figure it out, I gotta, like I'm rambling all my thoughts, and he kind of helped me to get over that. But like honestly, when I found mobile home investing, because I do have a social work background, so I used to work for the state, I was a case manager, so I was already like helping families, put them in homes. And when I found mobile home investing, I was like, wow, this is something that can get me back to like what I was already doing, but now I can build my own business off of it with the family still in affordable housing. So, I mean, like I said, we loved it. I mean, again, Byron, when he was like, are you sure mobile homes? Because he didn't get into that, he was already trying to acquire, a building here. I think it was like a 2-flat building here. I think what they call it, a multi-unit. building here in Chicago, but that didn't go through for him. And I knew at the time that we were not going to get approved for any loan, for any traditional real estate. But I told him, like, we got to do something. And mobile homes was something that we were able to go ahead and get done with, less than 10K.
So let's talk about that because, let's talk about the numbers of an actual, like mobile home, at least in your particular area, so people can get their, their ideas wrapped around it. Let's talk about the numbers, and then let's talk about how you actually used that $10,000 line of credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here in the Midwest is really, I always say it's a gold mine because you can find homes as low as $2,000, under $10,000. And it all varies, you go to the East Coast, Northeast, you're looking in at possibly that I would say 6,000 to 15,000 mark for a used mobile home. You go down to the Southeast, you can find stuff again at 2,000 to 10,000. You go to the West Coast, you're looking at $15,000 to $30,000. Texas is a more higher market. You're looking at that $10,000 to possibly $20,000. And then the rest of America, you can still find gems between that, I would say $6,000 to $20,000 for a used mobile home. So in our particular market, it was still, Midwest has that stigma of mobile homes, trailer trash. So it makes the value go down. So for us, when we were looking, we were seeing stuff for $3,000, $5,000. In our first deal, Sharnice found a park manager that had some homes, and we went to go look at it. And the homes, I think the two homes we saw, one he was offering for $7,000, and the other one he wanted $1,500. So we was like, hey, we give both homes. She told me to say $4,000, but I wanted to be nice. I was like $4,300, and he said yes. And we was just like,
wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, okay, like we're in budget. And the cool thing is that one of the homes was move-in ready, but the other home, it needed a little bit of rehab. But of course, we was able to still hold on to our initial money because, we reached out to family, like his uncle, my dad, and my dad's friend did a lot of the rehab for us. So that was able to really just materials, but like labor was pretty much free for us on that first deal.
Yeah. So we were able to, again, that rehab only cost $3,000. So
I was gonna say, like, how do you, because in here, like, we're going through with like, okay, it's gonna be $8,000 for the kitchen, and for the bathroom, the roof needs to be done. Okay, so what's the total? Like, it'll be about 95, and we're like, okay, let's do it. Like, when you
Right.
do a mobile home, and it's just like about 1,200. Like, what are you like, looking at like inside? I don't think I've ever been. I think I have once.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember what it looks like in like inside, but like, what is it the same? Like, what are we looking at?
So man, mobile homes is always, you're talking about, it's built cheaper, but it's still built to last. When I mean it's built by cheaper, think about houses are built up, they're built outside, so they have to have stronger factors, whereas a mobile home is built in the factory, and then once they're stable, they're built to last, wind resistant, and things like that. So in a mobile home, I tell people on a used mobile home, in I would say the average market, right? Because again, you're talking Cali, Miami, more expensive market, you're gonna put better things in it. But on a full gut single wide, you should never pay over $15,000. That's the max. Yeah, that's the max on that. So you're looking for, the biggest thing you're looking for, the roof can cost the most. You're looking for holes in the roof because that's structural damage. You're looking for, you want to make sure there's no huge electrical problems. The plumbing, again, a full plumbing job can cost up anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. And what's the other one? Flooring, subflooring is not bad. You're looking for soft spots on the floor, but even if you replace the entire subfloor within a house, you're talking about, man, you can still be under $2,000, replacing the entire subfloor, and then depending on whatever type of floors you put down. So the costs are very minimal, right? You're talking about even the walls is not regular drywall. It's either you can use wallboard or it's right at it's like the 3/4. I got it in my notes, and I don't get my phone right here though. But again, it's thinner than traditional. So all those materials are much cheaper than a regular house, and that's what makes it so much affordable.
Are these like one by ones? Like, are you just looking to flip these, or are you, do you need, or if you're holding them, do you need a lot? Like, do you need, 40 of them in order to produce the same revenue, or how does that work numbers wise? So if we obviously we're buying these, straight out, and we're not financing, these. So we might have a private lender or things like that, but talk about like the cash flow if we're holding these. Like, what do these particularly look like? What's rent as far as what's coming in, things like that.
So yeah, so I always tell people, since you are paying less, right? When you're talking about getting a mobile home, I always tell people you want to cash flow a minimum of $300 per unit. And so the reason why I was telling you, like, if you do $300 for 5 years, that's 18 grand. And so it really depends on your area. One strategy is you take what the average rent is in the area. And so in a mobile home park, they have lot rent, which is just like an HOA fee, right? You're paying you're leasing the land. Okay. So whatever that land is, whatever that cost, that lot rent, let's say, for example, it's $500, but if the average rent is $950, now you got margins at least $450 that you can make cash flow. So when you look at it, whereas, what I was telling you, what's your number? How much do you want to cash flow? And if you're saying, hey, I want to bring in an extra, $4,000 a month, then now I'm gonna go ahead and pull out my calculator real quick. But if you say,
so interesting.
I'm sorry about that. So you say you want to make
this is interesting because I've been
that might be 10 units, So okay. And we always tell people reinvest, but I tell for my new investors, look at flipping to build up that capital. And so now you're not necessarily just dumping your last 10,000 and trying to make that back up. So if you're looking at flip, when we began, we did some flips. Like that first flip that we did, that got us 19.5. The next flip that we did, that got us another 12,000. So for us, it was like, okay, how many of these can we do a month?
Right. Continue to flip them, build up your capital, and then utilize your own capital to reinvest. Like we started with a loan, but then we built up enough capital to be able to pay back the loan, and then now utilize our additional capital to continue to invest. And then the new homes we got, that's when we start putting those on notes.
Okay. Considering, I guess I can attribute it to Shanice for actually finding this particular, this home, or the investment strategy, I should say. What, you mentioned that you were looking at deals in different areas and things like that. For someone who, because I invest right in the backyard, at least for now, and then I eventually, will start to get definitely a lot more out of state. But for someone who may not live in the area, may have to travel, or may just be looking at other states, what, one, are you using a site, or how are you finding these mobile home parks? And then two, how do you know if the area that you're looking for or city is a good area to invest in?
Yeah, so one thing you can do, I'll tell people, is you want to go to Google Maps and then type in mobile home parks. And what that'll do is just give you, you see nothing with red dots. And now it'll give you a synopsis of where all the mobile home parks are for your area. I would tell people spreadsheet that. Start putting that. It has the phone number, the address. And that way you can start either driving for dollars, or you can go on Craigslist and start looking for mobile homes. And then one way you can do it to kind of find out if it's a good area, bestplaces.net. On bestplaces.net.
Bestplaces.net. Okay.
Mm-hmm. You can go on there, type in the area, and what you can do is, what you want to find out is, okay, if the average home is selling for at least over $90,000, then okay, it is a need for affordable housing. Okay, if the population is at least over 75,000 people, people are living there. And that site can tell you about the economy and things like that, unemployment rate. But that helps you kind of get an idea of, okay, is this a good place to invest in? Because if the average house is $40,000, right, and then that means that they can go buy a house before they go buy a mobile home. And so, you want to go somewhere where people want to live amongst people who are doing better than them. Right, it's more that motivation. So you want to find those areas, and now you kind of know, like, okay, now I can make some wave here, and I can be the person that provides affordable housing in this area.
And so, are you also buying like on the fringe area of like major metropolitan areas or things like that, or because New Jersey, I'm trying to think, New Jersey, like our I guess our mobile homes. There's some in some areas where you really get like a suburban feel as well. But I guess notorious-wise or notoriety-wise, more down south, like by the shore of New Jersey. So are you buying in like areas that, you know, 1 mile over, you're in $400,000-$300,000 homes and you know, that type of net worth, or like where are these like located within these cities?
Yeah, so for us, we like the off market deal. So, you know, we're in Chicago and it's only technically one mobile home park that's listed in Chicago, but even the ones that's closer to Chicago, you know, we don't necessarily invest in them because it's going to be a higher price for the home because of it being close to the big city, and then the lot
Okay.
is going to be more expensive. So we like to travel out to like the rural areas, like you said, kind of we go either northern Illinois or we'll go down south Illinois or we go over to Indiana, kind of travel out. You know, for us, we like driving the dollar. So we'll go over 60 miles. I always tell people, you know, definitely do whatever is comfortable enough for you and your situation. But, you know, the further you drive out, you'll start seeing those off market deals for, you know, like Byron was saying, in our market, like under 10,000.
Yeah, and also like those small, just the smaller the metro areas. You're right. So like for example, you're in Jersey, New York, but when you start traveling outside to those, you know, it's kind of it's you know like a smaller city. I'm not sure like how far is Paterson, New Jersey from? Is
So
that
not
far?
far. So Patterson is another like major city. So for example, say if Patterson is that city where everybody wants to be in, the multifamilies in there are expensive, things like that. You know, if I'm looking at Patterson as like that city, then usually I'm on the fringe area. So I'm like the town right after that. Or,
Yes.
you know, Patterson is still pretty, you know, okay. It's not like say, you know, a Hudson County where that is literally the first area or the first cities that you get to New Jersey with, where those are like way out of, you know what I mean? Like those,
got you.
like that's the LA, or, you know, not
Yeah.
LA literally, but that's where it's like, okay, it's too expensive to invest here. Whereas Patterson is still, you know, definitely investable. You just got to find the great deal. But still in that threshold where if you're using hard money or if you're using, you know, commercial finance or things like that, when you're putting 20% down, you're bringing, you know, 80 or $100,000 to the table, right? So, which is why I can understand, especially for newbie investors, why raising that capital, getting access to that capital, it's tough. And I realize that eventually that's what leads people into cheaper markets, cheaper investment opportunities to find out how they can maximize, you know, the same money that they would be using. So, so that's, you know, that's what that particular area is. And I'm looking like right outside Patterson, where it's just like, where, you know, where are they feeding off of Patterson? So it looks like it's the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Because obviously, if you're familiar with Patterson, if you go one city out Patterson, there's not a mobile home park, right? So it's like where intuitively it's like, okay, I'm right there. Oh, wait, there's no mobile home parks over here. The mobile home parks are all the way over here. How do you make that, I guess, that mindset adjustment to know that, you know, at least for us, when, you know, I don't want to say city guy, but suburb city, all here, that I'm going out into rural country and then I'm looking at the property and it's like, this is a good deal. Like how do you get that feeling or no, essentially? But you kind of answered it already, but that was the reason why I was asking that question.
No, for sure. But the one thing you're looking for, how does the community look? You know, I think sometimes you know, you get the stereotypes about like mobile homes, you know, trailer trash and things. And so don't get me wrong, if you come into a community and it looks sketchy and it looks, you know, you're like, man, nobody even looks like they live here. That's the type of tenant that you're gonna get, right? But if you go into a community and you look and you're like, wow, it looks pretty filled. This is actually like a nice community, and you see a few vacant houses. Now you know there's actually a need. People like living there, right? You see,
Gotcha.
You know, there's grass and things like. If you see good things, nice cars, you'd be surprised. We see Mercedes and Range Rovers, all that kind of stuff in mobile home communities. And if you start seeing that stuff, you know, okay, people are going to want to live here. Just make this a good place to invest in.
Gotcha. That pretty much hits the, you know, the nail on the head with that, considering the fact that, you know, it just deals back to, you know, location. And obviously one of the big fundamental things that you kind of piggyback off of is that, you know, that's exactly how I choose my properties, where I don't care where it is. I don't care, you know, anything like that, because the style just might be different from what I'm accustomed to or what people are accustomed to doing. No problem. But whenever you pull up there, for example, Philly, like I would never me personally, I would never purchase a row home. Like we don't do that over here, no problem. But obviously that's very, very big in Philly.
Right.
Cool. As long as I pull up to whichever address, whatever house that is, and if I feel comfortable living there, whether it's it doesn't have to be like on in Beverly Hills or anything like that. Clearly not. But if because we all grown up in neighborhoods, but if I'm cool living there, then cool. Like I can get, I expect the same type of tenant with my mentality to want the same is how I kind of rationalize it. So that's good. So is it, and I mentioned that, Shanice, you mentioned how Byron was checking out for like a duplex or a multifamily at one point and that fell through. Are you still looking for multifamilies now, or are you strictly mobile? Byron, you don't look too happy about it. He's like, yeah.
No, you know what? So we look at it more so, the house hacking phase.
Right.
Just
That's what we want to do now, because we love mobile homes. Because we've been doing this now for like 2.5 years. So this is all we know. But now, since just talking about those additional multiple streams of income, like we'll definitely get a building here still. Hopefully by the end of this year, and we'll just house hack it.
Gotcha. What so it's been 3 years, so about 3 years, and you've been able to like pretty much ramp up like really quickly. Like what do you like attribute that to? Is it just being able to do this 24? I just finished the episode where we talked about the importance of when you're looking to make a transition business wise, don't quit your job. Now obviously you guys were in a totally different situation, guys and girls. I'm working on it. You two were in a different situation, but some people hold on to the job and then wait for their business to grow. Would you say that you were able to really take off in the next, over those 3 years because you were doing it full time, or was it some, just developing the skills?
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, sorry.
No.
I was gonna say no, definitely. It was definitely because we had full time. Like literally, that was what we did every day. Like everything was mobile homes. We wanted this probably no more than about 10 to 12 hours a day. So if it wasn't prospecting, we was on the phone. We was on the phone. We was traveling. We went all the way down to Cincinnati. We went to Fort Wayne. Went to Indianapolis. We even traveled to Denver to meet with because Sharnice had made so many calls that the president of the 5th largest mobile home park company, they called and was just like, hey, what's going on? What you guys looking to do? And she explained to him, he invited us, say, like, hey, if you're ever in Denver, stop by. And we booked the flight to Denver like literally the next week. Like, no, this is an opportunity. So he opened up a lot of opportunity for us. And man, I attribute to, honestly, as we built this, when we came out with the mobile home elite, we said, hey, because we knew within the 3rd month that we had to teach this. Like we was like, nobody knows about this really. We have to share this. And so when we opened those doors, I think, that's the ability when you give, you receive. We were people really start to bless us with other deals. And, we had relationships with a park manager here that, she gives us free homes. She get whatever. She just literally, she wants to see us win. And, things like that. And then we start getting park owners start to reach out to us, and then starting, allowing us to be silent partners on mobile home communities. So that's what start to really, really the traction to let us just really start to benefit.
But then too, I wanted to hop in because I understand, like, for individuals who does have a 9 to 5, because we have a lot of students or just people in our DM just reach out, like, how do I make time for this? Or how can I make what you guys make? And it's like, for us, we did start off, we were full-time entrepreneurs, but even in the beginning, like, Byron was driving Lyft, I was driving Lyft, I was doing Amazon Flex, so every app, Instacart, I was doing it all. Postmates, any app that's out there, I was doing it. So I always tell people, you got to utilize your calendar. You got to be like, okay, I'm going to wake up this morning. I'm going to drive Lyft from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. Then I'm going to come home and I'm going to work on the mobile home business from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. You know what I'm saying? I know, and that, of course, that's my schedule. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I did. But everybody got to get accustomed to their own schedule. And I think that's the biggest hurdle that I see, like, new entrepreneurs who still has that 9 to 5 job. That's the biggest struggle I see them struggling with is just kind of like that scheduling and how do they make time for the entrepreneur life. And it's like, you really just got to set aside the time, as tired as you are, as busy as you are, you have to set aside that time, and one thing that Byron helped me to focus on was really just utilizing like my planner, writing stuff down, utilizing my calendar and really sticking to it, like not just putting it down and putting it in the calendar, but actually sticking to the goals.
I like that answer because, that's a skill. Mm-hmm. Which for individuals, we think that we're going to go out there and just put things together, and you have to develop these skills of and these are things where it's wax on and wax off. Like you have to learn how to manage, and not so much manage your time, right? Because it's very hard to but managing the action within a certain window that you've applied for it, right? So the light bulb went off for me recently where I was struggling with time, where I was doing a lot, working a lot, but it wasn't as structured that I needed it to be just as a business owner, because you have to find times to work in your business and find times to work on your business and work on your marriage and work on anything else on you that you want, you know what I mean? So especially when you mentioned like your planner and things like that, Google Calendar, I've been really, really adamant recently on honoring those time block systems. For anybody that's listening to this episode, when you're wondering how to fit it in or anything like that, when you have a full-time job, and if you only have one full-time job that you're doing like a 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or 9 to 7, there are still no excuses, because the reality is there are people that do that and will go bartend like I did for the rest of the night and wake up and go do it all over again, plus the weekends. And the only difference is you were required and forced to show up. Exactly. Now the difference in the hard part is now getting yourself to show up autonomous by yourself. You know what I mean? So when I put that kind of into effect and really run it, man, if I was working a full-time job and a part-time job, how would it look like hourly wise? Okay, now break up your task in that. You'll be so surprised on what you can actually accomplish, with straight focus in an hour and a half or 2 hours of just straight focus. It's ridiculous. So they do have the time, and I'm pretty sure exactly with the course that you two offer, if they just apply those principles and just black out the efficient time and actually put everything aside and focus on it, they can do whatever. It can definitely happen. And now I have to start thinking about mobile homes, because I've been seeing it. Did you hear it on the Bigger Pockets podcast? So rightfully so, right? Because I'm listening to them and it's of course, it would be you two that offer the mobile homes, but we're not doing that. That's not I don't have any family that we could talk to that have experienced that. So this is something that's completely brand new.
Yeah.
So it's a total cultural shift, mindset shift, cultural shift in general, because I think that's probably the biggest thing, obviously, because all of us, especially our demographic, have no problem investing in multifamilies, no problem investing in apartment buildings. But the cheapest option out of all of those is mobile homes. But obviously, culturally, I think it's a change. So that's why I really wanted to bring you two on, and selfishly for me as well.
Oh man.
I could care less, but all good. So as we start our descent here, just bring me through what's going on next. What's next? Where are you going for the rest of the year, into the next 5 years? Where are you taking your students? Talk to us.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to piggyback off you, and I'm gonna keep it real quick. But one thing, as a culture, we normally invest inside of our backyard, right? Mm-hmm. That's one thing we do. When we get multi-families, we invest within the city. And one thing I see from other cultures of what they do is they invest. It don't matter. And so that's what we want to do and say, open that up. Let's open the floodgates and let's go out, because America's for sale right now. So where else can we get versus, I know we want to protect our communities, but besides that, let's go out and get something else that can bring money in for our community and for our culture. So that's what I want to say on that one. So that's what I want people to be open of going outside of that and go get some of that money to bring back. So
real, because I remember one time I was in Pennsylvania one time, and obviously clearly a predominantly majority area.
mm-hmm.
And we were sitting there looking at properties, like it's me and one of my other partners, who's also black. And we're sitting there, it's us two, and we're looking at properties and going through. And then it was, until everybody starts going by and they're like looking at you and they're like, what is he doing here? And then, the light bulb clicks off where you're like, we're gentrifying your neighborhood. Like,
yeah.
Exactly.
All facts. And it's
Right.
now I know how they feel. And I used to wonder, like, why are they not like, or, because over here it's more Jewish individuals, where they're not like, where we're scared of going to certain parts, they don't care. And they have no problem at all. And it's, obviously they clearly have gotten the opportunity. They've shared it with family. They've brought home the gold, and and we're still working on that. We've made tremendous progress, but that grind is still going. Go ahead, Byron.
No, and I mean that's like you just said, like we're gentrifying. That's what we see every day. We see people like us buying out our neighborhoods, and then we might get a few, but we're not. They have them, so it's just like, okay, where aren't they looking at? And then let's go here. So I know right now we got America kind of like, what the heck? We got so many of us going into mobile home communities now. It's just like, this is our time.
It's a new way. It's our time.
I'm gonna all right, so like what's next? I'm gonna let Shanice bring us through, because women love women investors, and it's cool to see, obviously. And talk to us.
Yeah, so I mean, what's next for me and Byron? We have a few park deals right now on the line. So we're going to be hopefully closing those soon. Our goal is we want to be the largest African-American mobile home park owners in the United States. So, you talk about that 5-year plan, that I can definitely see that happening within the next 5 years. And, with our students, we actually have a new course that's about to launch. So we're really excited about that. We're going to be bringing back our group coaching. So really just, giving back to the people, helping, making sure that, people closing these deals. That's what it's all about. I feel like, especially with everything that's going on right now in society, like, society needs us. Like they need us, they need our platform to show them a different way outside of, unfortunately, a lot of people have lost their jobs, and, a lot of people are on unemployment right now. And it's just, our biggest thing is that we just want to continue to give back, continue to live in our purpose, and just really, show the people that it is another way.
Gotcha. And we thank you for that platform, because you're at least your education and your content, at least for the community, is at least opening some eyes and just giving some people some options. And I tell everybody, as long as it's something that makes you ponder either what you believed, what you do believe, or are going to believe, then it was something effective. Because usually it's that thinking that gets us into a box, and then you're only limited to whatever that box offers. But this is something that, like I said, I just wanted to bring out for individuals, because obviously investing is not talked about, to begin with. And then investing in mobile homes, where the barrier for entry is more, it might be more suited for particular investors. I definitely want to bring that to the table. So let's start our descent here. Let's go into the core four, which are the four core questions that I ask each and every guest that come through on the podcast. Question number one: what are you two's favorite aspect about real estate?
Man, for me, it's just to be able, not only just affordable housing piece, but to, put somebody in a clean, safe, and functional environment. That's huge to me.
Yeah, and it's the same thing for me. Like the biggest thing, like people think it's the money, but the money don't matter. It's when we have people that's literally crying on our shoulder, that's giving us hugs, our buyers, our tenant buyers for these homes, because some of them literally had nowhere else to go, and we were able to provide them housing. Like that's really what it's about. So that's my favorite aspect of it.
Love it. Question number two: favorite business or personal development book?
I like this book. It's called No Excuses. That's it's by
Ryan Tracy?
Yeah, Ryan Tracy. Yep. I love that
one. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the first books that I read, it actually just helped me to change my mindset. Cause like I said, when we first started, like Byron was the one who was kind of fearless, but I was the one that was coming up with all the excuses, you know,
Right.
that fear. So that book kind of helped me to break down those barriers.
And it's very, very easy to read, and he actually breaks it down, you know what I mean? And it's very just simple to comprehend, but game changing. What about you, Byron?
The Go Giver, and that's by Bob Berg and John David Mann. That really gave me a different perspective on giving, you know, versus, you know, I guess selling and things like that. And
right.
You know, once I shifted my mindset to, you know, just giving freely, just giving. I can't even, like, when I talk about the receiving factor, it's almost overwhelming at times, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that book just really changed my perspective on how important it is to give.
Cup runneth over. Question number 3. When you guys are guys and gals, I promised you, I told you I'm working on it.
Byron do the same things. It's okay.
It's cool. I'm just trying to be conscious about it because, you know, it's real though. It's real. So, question number 3. What do you two like to do in your spare time when you two are not out putting mega deals together?
Man, me and Byron, we're pretty chill. I mean, the world closed now. When it is open, I definitely love to go to the movies. You know, Byron, I love movies. So movies, just going out to eat. We're like big kids. We love the arcades here in Chicago. We'll go to Busters, just hang out. Yeah, we're pretty chill.
Yeah, and then for me, just going with friends. I mean, I love a good, you know, just a good chill session, going to see a few of my friends and just being able to just, I don't know, say be normal, but you know, they know me from way back. So it's nothing about mobile homes. It's all just, we able to just rap, man. So that's my favorite thing.
That's the beauty of it. Okay. And last but not least, where can people find you two at?
Cool. So, man, find us. We're heavy on Instagram at Mobile Home Elite Investors. You can use the same thing to find us. Our Facebook page. Watch our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. MH Elite Investors. And then if you want to just learn more about how can you get started, go to our website, www.mobilehomeeliteinvestors.com. And we got everything you need about mobile home investing.
Awesome. Sharnice, Byron, thank you two so much for coming on the show, especially with just giving us some gems on some actionable steps, or at least what we can do to just take the first step, considering the fact that it always begins with the very first step. You have all the resources for everyone that's listening. Please just go to the resources. It's never the resources of why we can't succeed. It's the lack of resourcefulness. So take advantage of the free content that are out there. Listen, digest it all. That's why we're bringing all these collaborative minds together. And again, thank you two for coming on, providing that. Now you're going to be under the microscope by me as well, because I've been looking at it for the past Lord knows how many months, ever since I guess Bigger Pockets started talking about it. But it was one of those things, like, again, like even for me, culturally, you know, it's a mindset shift. And obviously with those opportunities, it might have to be a shift that happens sooner rather than later. That's for sure. Yeah, so I appreciate you two for coming on. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy.